the GPT, when you're dealing with it, when you're talking to it, when you create it, should know like everything about you, everything about your customer and your brand, like your tone, your voice, and what your brand is about. So the more information you feed it, the better output you're going to get.
Representing Franchise Secrets, Erik Van Horn.
Hey, welcome to the Franchise Secrets podcast. You got another solo episode with me, and we're going to be talking about AI, like how I actually use it, how some of the things that I used to do with it that I don't do anymore, how to do it just as a business person, as an entrepreneur, like using it as a tool. And then also specifically in franchising, I want to think, I want to show you how I use it to analyze FDDs and how franchisees and franchisors and really franchise buyers can do a similar type thing. And there's also some key things to watch out for if you are doing it with analyzing FDDs, and just as a buyer in general, you have to do it the right way or you get the wrong output. And but if you do it the right way, it's amazing. And so then just for some research, deep research, I do it for brands that we're talking to, industries that we're in. I think this is a big miss for franchise buyers. They research a franchise. They don't really research an industry. Whenever Front Street, we are talking to brands, even if it's an industry that I know about, I still do industry reports, competitive analysis, and SWOT analysis, and all kinds of different things, because I want to understand the industry, not just from a franchising perspective, but also from, so I can understand like the margins in industries and the challenges in industries. There's so much that I'm gonna give you. So franchisees, franchisors, and franchise buyers, I think you're going to like this one. So let's talk about AI as that. We've heard the term thinking partner. I had first heard that from a friend, Jeff Woods. He co-wrote the One Thing and worked with the One Thing book and that program. And I was doing a lot with AI, and it was a couple of years ago that he's like, hey, the best way to use it is as a thinking partner. And so I shifted my mentality way back then to really use it as a thinking partner. So what that really means is when I am talking to ChatGPT or whatever that platform of choice is for you, you need to think about it as a highly paid advisor. And then not just one advisor, but multiple advisors. So I like to compare and contrast, look at things from different angles. I even get to analyzing specific concept, a specific word, and look at that from different angles. But in your mind, as you are using AI, ChatGPT as a thinking partner, sometimes I want it to be contrarian. Sometimes I want it to be agreeable. Sometimes I want to look at it from perspectives that I've never seen before. Maybe it looks at it like from a Warren Buffett or Charlie Munger standpoint. Maybe it's Gary V or Elon Musk or just somebody that's in crypto, somebody that's in finance and banking. I want to see how different people would see this differently. Not so I can agree with it or disagree with it, so I can see different things from different angles. And so if you were using it as a thinking partner, think about if you were standing across or having coffee with somebody that you're paying $1,000, $2,000, $10,000 an hour to, like, how would you approach that conversation and what kind of thoughtful questions would you ask? So that's how I think about, using ChatGPT AI as a thinking partner. But I'm going to be referring to kind of everything, ChatGPT, Claude, all of that as AI. And some of you may like that, some of you may not, but I'm just going to refer to it simply as AI. So if you're using it as a thought partner, sometimes I do that in different scenarios. Sometimes if it's more along the lines of investing, like what we do at Tribe of Investors and Lifestyle Investor, if I'm analyzing deals, if I'm analyzing the current deals that I'm in and tracking them, I look at it one way. I have advisors that tell me one thing. But if I'm doing it like I'm building a new website for us, and I think of it differently that way. But you need to be thinking of it as a not something that does the job for you, but it accelerates how you think. So let's take the website, for example. I built the Mighty Dog website and from scratch. And obviously I had, different people helping with that project, but I helped, build that thing from a URL to what it is. And obviously there's a lot of things I don't know about building a website, but I would help architect the whole thing. And I know what good copy looks like. I know what good words on a page look like, and the headlines and the copy and what you want it to do. But I had to deal with a copywriter. I would write some copy, and I'm not a great copywriter, but I'd write some copy, send it, and be like, yes, I like this, I don't like this. And they would email me back, and we would get on a working session on Zoom, and it would just take forever. And it was very expensive working with a great copywriter anytime you do that. Now, over this weekend, I'm working on a new website for us for some new offerings that we're getting ready to roll out. And it was so fast because I knew what I wanted, the outcome of it. So I would put that in, and then I would ask it to repeat it back to me and give me some ideas for headlines and some copy and some taglines and things like that. It would kick it out, and then I could say, I like this, I don't like that. Give it to me in this perspective, or how would Alex Hormozy see it? How would Elon Musk see it? And then it would kick different types of copy to me from different angles. And then I would ask it, I'm like, show me more. And sometimes you can just ask, show me more, give me more. That's a real kind of, not a very great way to do it, but it gives you different perspective, gives you greater detail. If you don't know what to ask, just ask it for more, or show it to me in a different way. And then you get different types of output. So I would definitely be doing that. So I got like the first, the homepage kind of done in a day, to give back to our website guy so he can fix that for us. So that's one way that it just saved me a ton of time and a ton of money. But you have to know what to ask it. And I did. I built a custom GPT for that. And I think everybody should do this. So here's the GPT that I built to help me with the website. I gave this custom GPT everything about Front Street. And I think for you, if you were to build, I think you need to build a custom GPT, or just call it a big report. So custom GPT, a big report on you, another one on your brand. So for us, it's Front Street Equity Partners. I gave it everything about us, and I asked it to research about us. And so I fed it everything on our current website and everything about kind of the industry. So then it kicked out this very big, long report because it had a lot to get from our website. And I use that, and I fed it back to ChatGPT and say, basically, you're using all of this content, all of these words to help me, as I am looking for help with Front Street. So if you're a brand, you should feed it everything about your brand as a franchisor, and then probably everything as a franchisee. Two different things: franchisee's perspective, franchisor's perspective. And so I definitely do that if you're a franchisor and if you're a franchisee, and then just keep that document so you can always refer back to that document, upload it to ChatGPT when you are dealing with a specific project. So the other thing to keep in mind as you're building different things like this is to have your customer personas, like your ideal a customer profile, however you want it to see it. But like the GPT, when you're dealing with it, when you're talking to it, when you create it, should know like everything about you, everything about your customer and your brand, like your tone, your voice, and what your brand is about. So the more information you feed it, the better output you're going to get. And so I not only thought about it, not only knew a bunch about me, I knew the questions to ask it to get the right output. And I think that's one of the bigger takeaways is you need the right output from AI to give you, you need the right inputs. You have to ask the right questions to get the right output, because I've seen a lot of bad output from ChatGPT because I'm asking it the wrong questions. So I'll get into some of the FDDs and research in a little bit, but I want to actually I'll do that right now. I'll talk about like when we analyze these franchise brands, or maybe it's a mom and pop that's coming into looking at working with us at Front Street, because we'll take a brand that is not a franchise right now. It's a mom and pop, a successful entrepreneur, and they want to franchise and they want to do it the right way, and they want to have accelerated growth in that compressed time frame. And so they work with somebody like us, outsourced FSO, strategic advisor. And so working with someone like us, what we do is we compress timeframes. So it's a lot of work. So we have to work with the right people because it takes our time. And the biggest thing for us is opportunity cost. If we work with the wrong entrepreneur, the wrong brand, the wrong industry, it costs us a bunch of time and opportunity costs. And so we don't want to miss it. So I have this research GPT, and I think all of you can have some type of research GPT for yourselves. But I feed it the FDDs of different industries. So let's say it is in the window washing industry, which, by the way, it's not. We don't have anything like that. So that's why, and we're not looking at that. So that's why I'm using that as an example. So I will feed it the different window washing businesses. Shine is one of them. You've got fish windows. You've got different ones. I'll feed it FDDs like that. I'll feed it content, and then I will so it knows what to ask. I'll feed it other FDDs, and then I'll have it do a bunch of research. And I have a prompt, actually a custom GPT, which is basically like a big, robust prompt. It's about 18 pages long. And it's fed into this custom GPT. So I go to this custom GPT anytime I need this type of research output. So then I will just give it an FDD, give it a brand, and give it an industry, and it will kick out a 20-page report. It will give me things like, the reviews that they have. It will give me the top competitors. Another thing that I look for is private equity interested in a roll-up in this industry. Because there's certain industries out there where private equity is actively looking to roll up mom and pops. And so if that's happening, that tells me, so some are at the tail end of that. Some industries are at the beginning of that. But if private equity is interested, it tells me that there's going to be more data on the industry in general, on profit margins, revenue, cost of goods, all kinds of information. And most importantly, if that's happening, it's because it's probably a successful industry and there's probably economies of scale. Then that's why private equities will buy up mom and pops. Same thing in franchising. We want to get involved in industries like that. So, that's just one of the little, half pagers in, a large report that I get will give me like private equities interest in rolling these things up or not. It'll do deep research on the founders. I want to know about these founders. Like I said earlier, just the different kind of things out there on whether it's Yelp or Google review, Google My Business, whatever the different types of reviews are, I want to know that. The other thing it gives me is Glassdoor. Like, is this a good company to work for? Is there anything on Glassdoor about that? So you can kind of see the types of things that I'm asking in this full report. All of you can create a full report, whether it's something that you are, for me, if I'm a buyer, I'm doing stuff like this. If this is, if I'm a franchisee, I'm doing research like this on my brand, on my competitors, so I know. And then you can always feed that into a ChatGPT to help you become a better local business owner, because now you're talking to the expert, the Warren Buffetts of your industry. And so you can use that for so many different things. For us, we use deep research like that as we're talking to brands to see, one, if we are interested in that industry in general, if we're interested in them at the franchisor level. But I had somebody that's like, Erik, I showed them the report and they're like, I cannot believe this report. And they're just, how did you do it? I'm like, it only took me about 2 hours to build this thing, but it kicks out amazing results. Here's the other thing when you're looking at reports and kind of output from ChatGPT or AI. You want to ask it to give you a report. And then if it's in the format that you want, that's great. Even if it is in the format that you think you want, I would ask it different things like, hey, what are other ways you can show me the same report, same data? And it will give it to you. I like red light, green light, yellow light. I like some of that. I like to do comparison. Like I want to know what this business is like compared to our business, and then what are the differences. So it will give me the differences between them, and like which one is the winner. It will say like, hey, this one is going to beat you in this category, you're beating it there, this is how you can change some of the things that you're doing to be have that green check mark in these columns, so you are winning in all of them. So there's a lot of different ways that you can get that type of output. So in this particular GPT that I built, I got probably 50 reports that I didn't like until I got the one that I did like. And now it always gives me that same report. So it's some work on the front end, but on the back end, it's amazing. And the reports that I didn't like are really good reports, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted. So that's a custom GPT that I built for that, which is basically like having a really good, strong, robust prompt. And if you ever wonder, like, how do I create a custom GPT? How do I have this amazing prompt? Not all prompts, just because it's big, doesn't mean it's better. It doesn't mean like you can have a really long prompt that's absolute garbage, and you might just have a really concise one. I really want to take my prompts and be as concise as possible, have the best output with the shortest input. So, but you had to leave with one thing on this, like create better prompts, ask for better prompts. I have a custom GPT just on creating prompts and custom GPTs. So whenever I want to create a prompt or a custom GPT, I go to my custom GPT on creating prompts and custom GPTs, because it's designed to help ask me the right questions and give me the output that I want. If you're wondering how to even do some of that stuff, I talk about this in my masterminds all the time. For the we'll do it in the Tribe of Investors, but we also do it in the Franchisee Mastermind and the Franchisor Mastermind. You can go to scalablefranchise.com to learn about that. I'm going to try to put some stuff out there to help you find it and to like create some of this stuff. And it's not really that hard. You just need to know who to trust, who's giving you the good stuff out there, not trying to sell you on their software or whatever it is. So you can find this stuff on YouTube. It's not rocket science. So just ask ChatGPT how to do this stuff. Like, how do I create a custom GPT? How do I get better prompts? How do I get better at prompting? How do I ask better questions? It will give you the playbook. You don't need my mastermind. You don't need a whole lot. Like ChatGPT is the thing. Here's one little tip. If you're just trying to get better at prompting, just give it your prompt and say, how do I make this prompt better? If I give it this prompt, what kind of outputs can I expect? And it will tell you. So that's how you use it.
Attention, franchisors and franchisees. There are two really important resources that I want to share with you that will help you avoid costly mistakes and increase your enterprise value. The first is our free Facebook group. It's a community that has over 4,000 franchisees and franchisors in it. When somebody asks a question, they get honest and authentic answers from multiple perspectives. You can join the group for free over at franchisesecrets.com/Facebook. The second resource I want to share with you is if you're a franchisee and you want to be around a community of successful Zs and other brands and in other industries, this is why I created the Franchisee Mastermind. If you want access to the best single and multi-unit owners to know what they're doing, or if you want to be around other multi-brand owners, then you'll want to check out my Franchisee Mastermind. The reason why people join is they want access to my Rolodex, my connections, to each other. They want a shortcut success, both short-term and long-term. Links will be in the show notes or at scalablefranchise.com.
All right. Content creation. I use it for content creation all the time, but I use it to help me with it. I don't ask it to write content on Facebook for me, and then I look at it and like, that's good, and then copy and paste that. again, I use it like if I had a copywriter to help me write better copy on Facebook. And guys, I had that. I got a copywriter that would write these posts for me. I would give them what I want. And by the way, most people have they have good copy out there. They have good posts. They either are a copywriter or they hired a copywriter. But now ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini is the copywriter, but it gives me copy, and most of the time it's not exactly what I want. And it's not the angle, it's not the hook, it's not the most of the time they have calls to action on everything, and I'm not a big call to action guy. I just want to give content out there without asking to buy this, to contact me here, and you'll notice that about my content. I just like to give good content out there because I'm more about branding and playing the long game with this stuff than I am about having quick sales on whatever it is. So I use it for content creation, but please, if you're doing it for that, don't just feed it a transcript of a YouTube video or a podcast. Like even my own stuff, I can feed it, but I don't get the output that I want unless I ask it the right questions. So some of the things I'll do is say, hey, I just did this podcast. Give me the themes that I should be posting about. And then I start to go down that rabbit hole to really get the stuff that I want out there. So that's how I do it with content creation and things like that. I've been using it more recently for email efficiencies. And I've been working on just being more efficient in email in general. I started that about a year ago. And I just feel like I am buried in email. But as I look at my inbox, and as I was on vacation for 3 weeks in Europe with my family, I wasn't bombarded with emails. And it's because I've been working at this. One of my friends hired an assistant to do all of his emails. My business is different. I don't get all kinds of random emails because I don't have large teams. So I don't have to deal with too many emails. It's my business partners and my brands and some other people that want to talk to me. So I've asked AI to help me with this. And then, so my goal is to spend less than 30 minutes a day in my email. And I want to spend less than 5 minutes getting rid of, garbage tasks that I don't want to do. Unsubscribe, delete, archive. Those are tasks that I could hire an assistant for. But I think if it's less than 5 minutes a day, I don't need to hire an assistant for a 5 minute a day problem. I can handle a 5 minute a day problem. I might change my mind on that, but right now I'm good with a 5 minute problem without trying to find a big solution for that one little thing. So I'm spending about 25 minutes in emails responding to, directing, and things like that. One of the things that I found out that I hate doing and things just sit in my inbox is because I'm supposed to make an introduction to somebody. Somebody wants to be a consultant and I need to make an introduction to the person at that consulting network or a vendor to a brand or things like that. I hate doing introductions. And my introductions were pretty poor. It's like, hey, meet so-and-so. You guys need to talk about this thing. That was my introduction. So now I'm tired of doing this. I'm going to spend 10 minutes, create a custom GPT on email introductions. Or, you could have a really good prompt on custom introduction or, just introductions that are, the type of introduction that you would want to get. And so I hate typing this stuff. So now I just go to ChatGPT, click voice, say, hey, I want to make an introduction between so-and-so and so-and-so. They're both good friends. They need to know each other. They need to talk about X, Y, and Z. Stop. And it gives it to me. It gives me the subject. It gives me the body, and I just copy and paste that. Some people don't have a problem with that. It's really easy for them to do. That was a problem for me. And not just, I wouldn't take the 2 minutes to type it out. Now it takes me 5 seconds to do it. It took me 2 minutes before, but I hated those 2 minutes. And I would not do it, and it would just sit in my to-do list. And now I can knock it out in 5 seconds. So the point of it wasn't a 2-minute task. It was something that I didn't enjoy doing. I didn't like doing. And so it just started to clog up my inbox and brain space. I'm like, oh, I need to do this introduction. So anything like that. One more thing on just things that would just sit on my desktop, sit in my email, sit somewhere. Like, I know I want to do something with this, but I'm just going to let it clog up brain space or computer like spots on my desktop and just annoy me for a while. And that is PDFs, newsletters, and articles. I'm like, I know there's some good stuff in here, but I'll read it later. All of a sudden, I have a bunch of stuff, like 100 things that I need to read later. So then I'm like, I need to stop doing that, create a custom GPT to extract the data that I want from this. I want to know tools and tactics. I want to know strategies. I want to know, how this applies as a franchisee, a franchisor, as an investor, and any key lessons learned. So there's some other things that I want out of that too. But I created this custom GPT. Now all I do is I feed it the email, I feed it the article, I feed it the PDF, it kicks it out to me. And then that output is really easy to digest for me. And I'm like, oh, I need to know about X, Y, and Z. I copy and paste that into a note that I can always refer back to later if I'm looking for tools or tactics or strategies. And it's just really easy to find now. But that's the kind of stuff that would just clog up my inbox, and I would not get to the most important things. So I'm trying to get rid of all the things that are low value so I can be working on the most high value of tasks throughout the day. So I think I'm trying to decide if I want to go into more FDDs. Let's talk about FDDs real quick. Specifically, item 19. I have a custom GPT that analyzes item 7s and item 19s for me. And I fed it a bunch of information, probably 3 hours, maybe 4 hours of work went into creating this custom GPT to give me the output that I wanted. Because one, people are going to be buying competitive brands to our portfolio brands. I want to understand everything about them, so we know where their weaknesses are. And then I want to know what people think about our brands, and as they're researching it. And so I want to know that. And then I want to look at brands that we're going to be getting involved with. I want it to analyze it in the same way. So the same GPT, I want it to analyze everything and give me similar or the same type of output for me. So item 7, item 19, that is like the cost to get something open, and then the performance of that brand when it's open. And I want to also know how that compares to the industry. Again, you've heard me say it before, but sometimes you will see, like, we've looked at brands before and their profit margins are through the roof. Their revenue is just insanely high. And then you do deeper research and you're like, something's not right. And you do research in the industry and then you realize something not's right. And that's what you want to uncover. As you're researching anything, as I'm looking for investments to put my money into to have passive income, if I'm looking at buying a franchise brand as a franchisee, partnering with a franchisor, like, you want to uncover the things that you don't initially see. And there's always going to be things you don't like about any passive deal, about a franchisee, about a franchisor, or that I'm looking at buying as a franchisee, or I'm looking at partnering with as a franchisor. Nothing is perfect out there. It's all going to have something or different things that are going to be a challenge. Like, that's just business. That's entrepreneurship in general. But that's what I want this item 7, item 19 output to give me. So it analyzes an item 7, item 19, kind of gives me the payback of what an anticipated payback is. But you got to take that with a grain of salt. Like, because I hear a lot, you want a 3-year payback or less. Well, that's fine, but are you really comparing apples to apples? Is the startup costs really the startup costs? What's excluded in that in real life? If you were to open up this as a mom and pop, what's excluded? And I've seen, as I was building this GPT, some stuff it was telling me was excluded when it really wasn't, and vice versa. So you want to make sure that's giving you the right output. And so then I got that dialed in, of making sure it's including or excluding the right things in the costs. And then in the item 19, this is where it gets real interesting. You want to make sure that you want to know what you are not seeing. Like, what is this data telling you that you think you're seeing, but you are not seeing? And this is just, you want transparency in that. And so you analyze these item 19s, and they're all given to you in different ways. And we like to have really strong, robust item 19s that share a lot of information. And I think that's better, because if you get a lot of information, then you have different touch points, data points to start comparing against, whether it's the industry, competitors, or whatever it is. So we think the more information that we give, the better that somebody can start to dissect that information. And so I feed it information, these different item 7s, item 19s of different brands, and holy cow, some of you are buying brands that like just has red flags all over them. But also, if you just go and create this custom GPT or ask it to analyze an item 7 or item 19, it might tell you something that's absolutely false, because you didn't feed it the right information, ask it the right question, the right way to get the output that is very accurate. And so I think, real simply, one of the things that you need to look at, you hear me talk about semi-absentee all the time, and you can be semi-absentee if you have the right manager managing the right managers or the right people. And that's a high level manager, because they're taking your place. And so for me, I'd pay someone $150,000 all day long so I don't have to do something. I pay $200,000 all day long so I don't have to do something. But the business has to make enough money for that to make sense for me. So in a lot of these item 19s, you are not seeing, you're seeing things excluded, like the owner's, how much time is the owner putting in the business. And if the owner's salary is not included, and they don't have a GM or a high level manager in there, if their salary is like $20,000, they're probably not a high level manager. Right? But if you don't know that, then you're at a disadvantage, and you are thinking you're buying something that has a profit margin of X when it's actually much less. And so we look at that when we analyze item 19s from other brands. And the other thing, well, there's a lot that you just need to know, but I just wanted to kind of share that with you from an FDD perspective using AI, but also as a caution that you have to know what you're asking it to make sure you're getting the output that is accurate. And that's where it's really hard for franchisors and franchisees, actually mostly franchisees, when they're evaluating different brands, they don't know if they're getting the right output. I do in my custom GPTs, because I know the information that we're feeding it. And so one of the things that you might want to do is put in some bigger brands in there, like a McDonald's, or, I don't think you can do Chick-fil-A, but McDonald's, something that is a large brand. They might not even have an item 19, but a brand that's known for having strong item 19s in their accurate item 19s, and use that as a baseline. And then I like the red light, green light thing. And that way it will help you understand it better. And that's the point. It's not to tell you whether you should buy it or not. It's to help you understand item 7, item 19 better. So then and here's the biggest thing, it's not going to make the decision for you, and you wouldn't want it to. So you can ask better questions when you're in validation. Like that's the thing. You get the right information in your hands on the franchise, on the industry, and that way you compare that accurately to what franchisees are actually doing. I think that's the best use of using AI to help you with the item 19. And you can even ask the franchisees, hey, I've built a pro forma, and it doesn't look like the franchisor and the item 19 includes whatever it is, a GM salary, or whatever the things that you think might be missing, because a lot of these people are leaving things out that they should not be leaving out. And we see it all the time. That's what you want to understand. What are they leaving out that I am going to have to actually pay? So you build that from item 19, your list of expenses, and then you compare that to a mom and pop, if you were to start it from scratch, or if you were to buy another one out. And that's how you start to build accurate expectations with what it's going to cost and what you're going to make. So I hope you found it helpful. We're diving deep into AI to help franchisees and franchisors as they are building out their empires in the franchisee and franchisor mastermind. So if you're interested in something like that, go to Scalable Franchise. But I'm also going to try to continue to give some more info and like how I'm actually using AI in these podcasts that I do.
Thanks for listening to the Franchise Secrets podcast. Links to everything can be found over at franchisesecrets.com. And if you want my help with anything from starting your own franchise to growing your current franchise business, please visit scalablefranchise.com.